Brilliance Audio presents Electric Forest by Tanith Lee. Performed by Susan Duerden. Ugly stood alone before the processing machine. The machine made certain types of cotton clothing, but Ugly never saw the syntho-cotton fed in at one tube above, nor the crisp white garments snowing out from the other below. Neither did she witness the actual metamorphosis that went on inside the machine in front of her. In the restricted space, 3 meters by 2, Ugly stood alone with the processing machine and ran her stubby hands, clumsily but effectively, over the bank of green and red keys. It was simple to keep the machine functioning. The task should have left her mind free to think of other things. Unfortunately, Ugly had very little to think about. Ugly's shift comprised 3 hours on alternate days, 5 days a deck. That was each 1 day, 3 day, 5 day, 7 day, and 9 day. Every 5th deck was free. For this program of work, Ugly received 200 astrads each calendar month, 4 decks, of which about 150 went on accommodation, food, and essentials. 50 astrads were nearly always left over to be spent on relaxation and pleasure. Unfortunately again, Ugly was not in an ideal position to spend them. Ugly's name, of course, was not actually Ugly. That was merely what most people, children, workmates, called her. It was not even a particularly cruel name anymore, simply blisteringly accurate. No longer spoken in malice, it had lost some of its intrinsic offence, and gained some. Ugly herself had never commented on the matter either way, nor on her real and registered name, Magdala Cled. On any planet of the Earth conclave, fetal conception was the controlled result of selective artificial impregnation. This ensured that all children born were healthy. Occasionally, however, mistakes occurred in the area of contraception, and a fetus was conceived biologically. Sometimes such children were less than perfect. It had happened that Magdala Cled was one of these. Her mother was a licensed prostitute. No one had bothered to identify her father. Intent on trade, the woman had forgone abortion until too late. She had subsequently dispelled her baby and dumped it with the required 500 astrads on the state. Magdala had grown up in a state children's home. A potential intelligence and interest had quickly submerged beneath regulation mechanical schooling that gave no outlet for speculation or the asking of even the most basic questions. It submerged, too, beneath the primitive malignancy of her fellow inmates, who, in their defence, were half afraid of Magdala. For it was a society of regular features and well-formed physiognomy, and monsters were rare. "Ugly!" the children screamed as they tore Magdala's hair out, tripped her, stuck into her small, sharp objects, pinched and kicked her, almost as if, by constant assault, they could change her into something less dreadful. But Magdala Cled, renamed Ugly, only grew uglier. Just under 1.5 meters in adult height, a great engine seemed to have descended upon her, squashing her downwards and sideways and twisting her for good measure. Squat, square, and irreparably leaning, Magdala walked with a sort of part-lagging, part-hopping step. From her skew shoulders, arms hung like afterthoughts, with spatulate afterthoughts of hands on them, and from her head, an afterthought of thin, murky hair chopped off at the neck. The modelling of the skull itself did show some mocking promise. Under other circumstances, it could have been the skull of an aware and creative woman. The face might have been poignant, though never pretty. But even that had not been possible for it. The flattened nose, the left eyelid, which lay permanently almost closed on the grey-white cheek, had seen to that. Only the mouth was well-formed, though the teeth had broken long ago and been replaced by haphazard dental implants, shabby as the fate which had necessitated them. Certainly Magdala, in the most absolute sense, merited her second name. It suited her. She would have been the last to deny that. Only inside her, Never let out, the bewildered anger hid, the pain and fury. She hid them also from herself when she could, did ugly Magdala.